Hello, and thank you for joining us today with Women Have Needs Too. We are here today with Rosie Paulsen, who has been honored as one of the 50 most influential Hispanic business leaders in Florida. She's a native of Ecuador who came to the United States as a teenager. A public speaker and business trailblazer, Rosie owns Rosie Paulsen Enterprises and S&R Services, a company that brokers Medicare coverage for people all over Tampa Bay. She has received a leadership award from the Tampa Bay Hispanic Heritage and is an alumnus of Smart Start Pasco and Inner City Capital Connection. Rosie currently serves as a commissioner of the Florida Commission on the Status of Women in City of Tampa Equal Business Opportunity Council. She lives in Tampa with her husband and her children. Thank you so much, Rosie, for being here today.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. And buenas tardes, amigos. Good afternoon. Hola.
So you came here to the United States from Ecuador. How old were you?
I was actually 17. I turned 18 here in this amazing country, the United States, and that was 32 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. Somebody's going to be doing the math out there.
Yes,
And don't you look amazing?
It's okay because I feel like I'm like the wine. The older I am, the better I look. And
Isn't
the better
that the truth?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's my goal too, is to get younger every year.
Yes.
So how did you come from Ecuador at 17 and then become one of the 50 most influential Hispanic business leaders in Florida? That's quite a realm. That's quite a title.
Well, I think because when I was in Ecuador, being a girl, I was put in a corner that because of my gender, I wasn't able to play soccer. And if anybody knows, I love basketball, and then my idea went from basketball to soccer. And because they say girls could not play soccer, okay, again, 32 years ago, I said, well, let me figure out how I can play soccer. And one day, this lady, or this young girl about my age, was in the field playing with the boys. And I said to the boys, well, what happened? She's a girl. Why she can play soccer and I can't? Well, she's an American, they said. So I befriended her. I found out that she was a missionary from the United States. And as soon as I figured out what the United States was and what becoming an American was, that I can do whatever I wanted,
Wow.
I ran back to my house and I tell my mom, okay, I know how I can play soccer now. I need to go to the United States and meet this guy named Jesus. And that is how I'm going to be able to play soccer. So at that young age, I was about 10 years old, I knew I wanted to come to America. And my parents, with a lot of efforts, they gave me a trip at 12 years old. So I came here for about a month, and I remember I knew I was in the right place.
Wow.
I knew that I was an American born in the right, in the wrong city.
Right.
But I was gonna come back. So since age 12 to age 17, I put my mind, I set myself up in my mind that I was coming to America. And at 17, my dream was achieved, and I've been living my American dream ever since.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, did they send you over to a soccer camp in the States?
No, actually, believe it or not, the reason why I came to America, I didn't play soccer here, but I went to the Navy, which that was another thing, and it's in my book also. Back then, girls didn't go to the Navy, and I had my grandfather who was a Marine and my uncle who was a Marine also, so I wanted to be a Marine. But girls couldn't go to the Navy or the Marines. And I'm like, okay, so I actually became, I did the reserves and the Marines here. I mean, the Navy here for a little bit.
Good for you.
Yes,
That's beautiful. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. But I tell people, I think the biggest thing is that they have always wanted to put me in a box. And the moment that they say, you cannot do that, it's just like, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I'm just going to prove myself that I can do it.
Good for you. Prove to you and others.
And everybody,
yeah,
yes.
That's beautiful. And so how did we get to the book? I mean, okay, so we're going to fast forward.
Right.
And we're doing a book now.
Yes.
So it's not enough that you're 50 most influential. Now you got to write a book.
Yes. Well, the book is that, let's start with the title. Ñeque is actually a Quechua word from a tribe from Ecuador called the Otavalos. So they tell you a little bit about who they are, but they are very entrepreneurial-oriented tribe. But Ñeque means strength. means that grit, that thing that you find inside yourself that will never ever let you, like you will never let go. And that is what is called the spirit of a resilient mindset, because if you set your mindset to be resilient, you will be successful. And this is a business brand book where I share my stories about my Medicare brokerage firm, which I came into the business being practically the only younger woman, Hispanic, because when I walk into a room full of Medicare brokers the first time, they were all older white men, and their assistants or their secretaries were usually their wives, but they didn't write policies. So here comes this new face, fresh, young, and I knew what I was going to talk about.
Right.
So I actually, those experiences, I share them in my book, saying that the biggest asset of your company, the biggest human capital asset of your company is yourself. So I learned early on to invest time in me, because there's a story here about my grandmother that she told me. Anything that you eat, anything that you travel, anything that you learn, nobody can rob that from you, Rosie. That's your experience.
She was a very smart woman.
Yes.
And how loving of her to express and forward that information on to you, because not everybody does that. Not everybody imparts their wisdom upon the younger generations. They're telling them what to do all the time, but they're not, giving them that extra nudge to and knowledge.
Right. And then what happens is that separates me from everybody in the bunch. And then people understood, okay, she's not only likable and cute, she really knows what she's talking about, because I am the only thing I know how to do is how to work on the Medicare policy. I don't do anything else other than Medicare,
Right.
but I am such an expert on Medicare that people come to me when they have problems, when they have issues, and they just need somebody in their corner to say, this is the way you need to go.
Yes.
And because English is my second language, I also couldn't really realize, I mean, one of the farthest dreams that I have was to write a book, because again, I Spanglish, I say it, I Spanglish. So here you go, I'm writing a book. But thanks to Now Publishing USA, I was able to actually sit with an editor and a book writer, and I will get my ideas, because all this is my proprietary information.
Right.
But then I will share it with her, and then she will write it, and then I will get it back, I'll edit it.
So the book is not written in Spanglish.
No. It has some words in Spanish there, but it's actually written in English. And then I have a workbook that is going to come with it, and then we're going to be doing the workshops pretty soon. And then the Spanish version is actually coming in 2021.
Fantastic.
Yay!
Congratulations. That's wonderful. And so you're going to ship it all over the world.
Yes, because one of the we talk about the 4 components of Ñeque in my book, which is purpose, persistent, persevere, and pivot. And because of the pandemic, I had to pivot into, instead of doing
Time out. Purpose, persistence,
persevere, and pivot.
And pivot. Okay.
Right?
Which a lot of people have been doing that this year.
Well,
you created you didn't create the word, but you took on that word before it was actually a thing for 2020, if I remember right.
Actually, because I remember writing and talking about this back in December. So anyway, because we have a pandemic, I had to pivot into virtual instead of the face-to-face, because what I'm really good at is the face-to-face, the interaction with people. But now you can touch on. So then that's when I pivot into the virtual setting. And that's when I realized I can actually go to Ecuador virtually and sell my book in Spanish.
That's
so
beautiful.
That is, I always wanted to give back to my community, and it's part of what makes me so special. And all those titles really don't mean anything. What it means to me is the impact that I have created in my community. And that is what drives me every single day.
That is important. I want to touch back on something that you said a couple minutes ago, and it's in the book. Your best investment is in me, and it's in you. What did that mean to you? What kind of investment? What did that mean to you? What were the steps of investment that you did for yourself?
Well, first of all, to understand what my value is. Most of us, we attach our value, especially as women, we attach our value to our children, to our husbands, to our business, to our community.
Yeah.
I mean, and then let's not even go to social media and all this perfect picture, perfect people that you are exposed to
Isn't that
every
the truth?
single day.
I think we'd all be doing a lot better off if we just threw our phones
Yes,
away.
and then so what I learned, first of all, my relationship with the Lord is what made me really understand that I was created with a purpose that only I can fulfill, and
Yeah.
it is because He created me that way, right? So when I got that, I realized I'm not selfish if I put myself first, because if I'm sane, then everything else falls into place, because I have my children, I have my community that I have to be a leader for, right? So what I do is I have that morning routine that I call it, where
Yeah.
I do my devotions, where I do
Good.
my self-affirmations. A lot of women talk to themselves. That woman in the mirror, the one that has been there all your life and is gonna be there all your life, the way you talk to her, you will not dare talk to anybody else that way. So start with that. One of the tips that I give in my book is
Positive self-talk. Change the self-talk.
Yes, the stinking thinking, I call it.
Stinking, I like that. I say that a lot. Stinking thinking.
Yeah, pure positive inspiring idea. But just do that. I encourage you. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are, how much you love yourself, and how proud of yourself you are. And then, at the end of the day, I have to find 3 things, because I'm an overachiever. So I sometimes think I haven't done anything at all. Hello, I get those times.
Isn't it interesting when you start writing about your life and putting forth your wisdom
Yes.
on paper? Isn't it it's self-affirmation, and you start to realize that you are a pretty special person,
Well, you're an authority.
and you have done so much, and your authority on you.
Right.
Nobody knows you better than
Right.
you, and nobody knows your business better than you. But what a beautiful thing that you're doing is imparting that wisdom, like your grandmother did with you. You're doing it for everybody in the world with this book. And I'm sorry. Do you remember what you were going to say? Because I am so sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
problem. No, that at the end of the day, I find 3 things that I achieve.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. And I pat myself in the back for it. And I do my little happy dance. This is Rosie Happy Dance. I did this. Because you know what? If we just focus on what we want to, especially overachievers, we focus on the gap, what we don't have and where we need to get to achieve, that we forget what we have achieved. So I make sure that those are the last things I remember. This is what I achieved. Then I do my affirmations at night too, because before I go to bed, those affirmations is the one I get up with in the morning. Usually your last thought of the night is how you will wake up in the morning. Pay attention to these little things. And it's nothing.
I like that advice. The last thing you say to yourself before you go to bed is pretty much how you're going to wake up in the morning.
Yes. So if you say, oh my God, I ruined today, whatever.
Right.
At the next day, you're going to have not a very good, productive day.
True.
So, and love yourself. Love yourself. Don't expect love from your husband. Don't expect love for your children, because they're humans too. And we all make mistakes.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
So let's go back, because you're an overachiever. I don't feel like I'm an overachiever, but somebody else might differ that. But there might be some people in the audience that are not overachievers. What do you say to those people who might have a gap but not realize what that gap is?
Well, and those people need to recognize how do they get self-affirmation, right? Because I talk about this personality in my book too. And for example, my husband is an introvert. Okay, my husband, you can see, you will never see him. You will see me in the room, and my husband is like way in the back, but people do not know that. Like for example, but my husband's strength, oh my God, is detail oriented. It's the protection. It's how we're going to prepare and how long it takes us.
Was he in the military?
No, he was not.
Okay, because a lot of military people are very regimented like that.
No, but that's his that personality. The introverts are usually great detail oriented.
They're always
people.
thinking.
Oh, don't trust me with detail oriented. But I can delegate. somebody to do
Yes.
the detailing part of it.
Right.
I can drive you to wherever we want to do. And as a matter of fact, that's where the driven part of me and what people really hire me to do is because if you want to go from point A to point B, Rosie will take you there. We'll
Wow.
figure it out on the way how we're going to get there, but we'll take you there.
I love it.
Right? But the C personalities or those introverts, they actually see where I want to go and they work backwards and give me those little details to get to where we want to go.
Nice.
So my husband and I have a really great relationship because of it, because we complement each other.
Yeah.
So once you learn what ticks for you, then you ask for it. There's another reason women don't go in the ladder, on the corporate ladder fast. You know why? Because women said, oh, I need to improve 30% because they have 70% of what is needed for the job, but they're focused on the 30%.
Instead of focusing on the 70.
And guess what the guy does? Oh, I only need 70% more for getting that job. I'll get that on the job training. Let's go ahead and apply for the job.
Yeah.
So and encourage other women. That's another thing is if you are a leader in your community, pull your other sisters, from to help you, or for them to also be successful. Because the more successful everybody else, we all benefit from it.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, it doesn't do anybody any good holding on to that wisdom and holding on to that success without helping somebody else get there.
Yes.
Because like you said, everybody, the whole world is going to benefit from everyone's success. Richard Branson, getting back to the women 70%, 30% thing, Richard Branson says, and I just love it, and I know a woman that actually was in this situation, and he says, if somebody offers you a job that you are not qualified for, say yes, and you'll figure it out later. I knew a woman, she was offered a pretty nice position with a resort. She was in the hospitality industry. She still is. She's a brilliant woman. And she was offered a position, and she told her boss, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And, please pick somebody else because I'm just not ready for that job. And thank goodness he was a mentor.
Right.
And he believed in her, and he knew what she was capable of. And he said, you don't have a choice. You're taking the position and you will get it. And she did. And I'm telling you, she is flying high way above that position now.
Yeah.
And she's quite a very intriguing woman. So let's talk about a couple chapters in your book. There's something that I wrote down, and you said about your money. You work really hard to earn your money. I want to keep it. But you say that's not the right attitude. You say the attitude is open your arms and share it. Tell us more about that.
Well, and it comes with everything, all your blessings. So, if I grab this, do I have an opportunity to grab something else if I'm holding tight to this? Okay. I can't, right? I actually have to let it go to be able to grab something else. So when you have blessings and you open your hands for your blessings, those blessings pour out of your hands. Okay, you still have blessings, you're still grabbing it, but you're also blessing everybody else. And by doing that, actually, it is in the Bible that says God will trust you with little, and then depending on how you manage that, he will trust you with more, and he will trust you with more. If you hold on to this, how can he trust you with more when you just hanging to this part and you're not blessing everybody else? The biggest blessing you can get for yourself is when you give something to somebody that can repay you. When you have that feeling.
Isn't that true? There was a movie, I can't even remember the name of it, but there was a movie that this gentleman wrote a check. It was Cary Grant. I wish I could remember the name of the movie because it's one of my favorite movies. But it was a Cary Grant movie, and he was one of those playboys, had the fastest car, had the motorcycle, had the boat, had the girls. And he learned from this wealthy man, he said, life is not about what you can do for yourself with their money. Life is about what you can do for others. For people, you cannot have anything in return. You don't expect anything in return from, and it's anonymous.
Right. Right.
Another story along that line, it's not necessarily anonymous, but there's a gentleman that lives in Orlando. He's the largest private hotelier in Orlando. His name is Harris Rosen. And Harris Rosen offers his employees, I think you have to be employed there 5 years, but every child in your family gets a free education.
Wow.
And he has adopted a couple neighborhoods. So Mr. Rosen spreads his
Right.
wealth. And I've always said, and he has adopted a couple neighborhoods, and I'll finish that thought. And what that means is that from kindergarten, if the parents cannot afford their child to go to kindergarten, it's paid for. And there's their college.
Oh,
In
wow.
both of these neighborhoods, the college education is paid for in those neighborhoods. It brought both of those neighborhoods from crime-ridden neighborhoods to nice neighborhoods to live in.
Right.
You know, and it's one of those. And I've always said every town needs a Harris Rosen,
Right.
and every town just might need a Rosie Paulsen.
And back to the finance part, I always tell people we always live above our means. You know, we get an
Yes.
100% salary, but we spend 110. But really, look at you get the 100%, you save 10%, you donate or give or
Right.
return 10%, and then live on 80% of your salary.
Yes.
That was actually the American way. If you really go back to the American way, that's how people used to live, on 80% of the salary. And then what you do is with that investment, you continue to, invest
Grow.
it in the market and grow for your retirement.
Yes.
But the goal is to have the less debt possible so you can continue to put more money
That's
on
right.
that investment, and then from that investment give back to your community.
I love it. It's beautiful. I am so looking forward to reading some more of your book. And tell us, how do people get a hold of this book so they can? Because everybody needs to have it.
Sure, you
Ñeque.
can. Yeah,
Ñeque.
Ñeque, and that's how you pronounce it, Ñeque. So you actually can go to www.rosiepaulsen.com, www.rosiepaulsen.com, and you can reach my cell phone number 813-909-6965, 813-909-6965. My email, rosie@rosiepaulsen.com. But my website, rosiepaulsen.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today, Rosie. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here and joining us today. Women have needs too. Right now, I need to give back to my community, and that's what I think you do every day. Thank you, Rosie. Have a great day.